Hey, small groups. Today we're jumping into the book of Mark series. We're starting Mark chapter 14, and today we're going to talk about how Judas handled the hard sayings of Jesus. We're going to cover this scandalous incident where Jesus was anointed just before his final Passover meal. And the story is going to end with Judas's reaction to essentially a few hard sayings of Jesus. And we're going to jump into that today. Now, before we do, let me just remind you before you meet as a small group, make sure to listen to that full audio podcast at the Truth Podcast. That's the best way to get the most out of your discussion as a group. Let's kick things off just by talking through those talking points together today. First of all, Mary anoints Jesus with an extravagant gesture. This is going to hint at our first hard saying of Jesus, and it has to do with finances. Jesus said, "You can't serve both God and money." Now, as a group, go ahead and hit pause and read Mark chapter 14, verses 1 to 3 together. Now, the response of some of the disciples exposes their ignorance or maybe just their unwillingness to accept the true identity of Jesus. This is going to uncover a second hard saying of Jesus, where Jesus said that he is God. See, if these guys really understood the divinity of Jesus, they wouldn't be offended that Mary did such an extravagant thing. Now, go ahead and pause and read Mark chapter 14, verses 4 to 7. Now, Jesus is going to respond by revealing the true meaning of this double anointing. It was about his burial, not just his coronation. And ultimately, then, it was about his third hard saying, where Jesus claimed to be the only way to heaven. This whole incident was about the fact that Jesus was going to have to die. And that is not what most Jewish people were expecting from a Messiah. So, as a group, go ahead and pause this video and read Mark chapter 14, verses 8 and 9. So, here's what I think this passage is revealing. This is really the turning point for Judas. These hard teachings of Jesus, I think, had finally pushed him over the edge. And we're going to see now, right after this whole interaction, that Judas is going to start making plans to betray Jesus. Go ahead and pause the video and read verses 10 and 11. Now, here's the main question I want you to tackle today as a small group. How do you handle the hard sayings of Jesus? We can see that Judas didn't handle them very well, and he ended up turning from his faith, turning from a pursuit of God. What about you? Use those questions below and talk about it as a group.